job.
Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. I thought we would do a watch party for Bitcoin, see if we can crack 42K. Let me post this in a few different places, and we will jump in. Okay, Bitcoin is coming in at a very modest 41.8K. So the prior local top that we put in a few days ago was at 42.6, right? It was at 42.6. So we're about $800 off that, right? We're about $800 off the prior local top. You know, I mean, if we can continue pushing higher, it's, I mean, from a technical TA perspective, it's nice, right? Because you have a higher low and a higher high. We don't have a higher high yet, right? We have a low here, and we have a high here. So now we just got to see, are we going to break through it? And remember, the 20 week, we've talked about it forever. It's not that far away, all right? This is the real battle. The real battle is right here. We are very close to it. And we also know that in terms of testing the 20 week, time is on our side. Why? Well, because the 20 week SMA is dynamic, okay? It changes every single week, and it's going down right now. If you go back 20 weeks, you can see that in the next week, we're gonna be replacing essentially a 58K averaged into that 20 weeks with whatever this is going to be. Let's suppose this is going to be, you know, 44K or so. Okay, so if it's going to be 44K, or let's say 43, let's say 43, where that's $15,000 difference divided by 20 is 750, meaning the current 20 week now is at 43.7. So what does that mean? Well, it means on the close, on this Sunday's close, the 20-week SMA will in fact be maybe below $43,000. Maybe it'll be like 42.9, or maybe it'll be 43.1. I don't know. It'll depend on exactly where we close, but it'll be somewhere around there. And you know, this is the test, right? I mean, this is the test that will at least define the next few months. And I said this in a stream, you know, a couple days ago. The general idea is that August, this month, will define, more likely than not, it will define the way we go for the rest of the year, okay? My general thinking is the bullish path, and remember, we are no longer ahead of schedule like we used to be, okay? I told you guys back in April and May, we're ahead of schedule, we need to calm down a little bit, and then maybe we can get back on track. But I will say this, we are not out of the woods. I know everyone wants to be out of the woods. Everyone's like, damn it, Ben, just say we're out of the woods, right? The only reason that keeps me from saying it is we've seen this before, okay? And we know that the market will play out differently every cycle. I see so many people assume that it has to play out the exact same way. You know, in the same way that once upon a time, people were saying it's gonna go to 300K by September or something because it has to play out like it has in the past, or 300K by December. You know, it's not a good way to look at the market. Like, it's not just going to play out like 100x every 4 years identically. The market doesn't work like that. So then the counterpoint that people need to consider is we've seen these bounces before off the 50 week, and this will be a true test, right? I mean, this will be a true test. Are we going to come back up and just get rejected like we always do off the 20 week after the first drop? I mean, sometimes it takes, you know, more than one attempt, right? So the question is, can we make it on our first attempt? Are the bulls strong enough, or are we going to kick the can down the road for a little bit? Now, if we do kick the can down the road, I still would contend that I do not think we are in for a multi-year bear market. I could see us spending longer period of time playing in the sandbox. We could go back to 30K if we get rejected. We could go below 30K. I mean, we could potentially go to 20K or 25K. And as long as we're not going, well back to the undervaluation region, we're fine. In my opinion, right? We're fine. What I mean by that is, as long as Bitcoin's not coming back down here in the, way down here, then I don't really see the problem. And what I would say too is there is, even if we do get rejected here, I would still argue that time is on our side. I mean, I guess I should say I'm steadfast in thinking that Bitcoin will go to 100K within the next couple of years. Maybe, I shouldn't be deterministic about anything, but as I've also said, if you're going to be deterministic about anything, it should be that Bitcoin's going to trend up with time. And those that consistently bet against Bitcoin trending up with time are generally going to be the ones that lose a lot of money. Now, the people that bet that Bitcoin will trend up with time, these are the people that are going to make a lot of money. Now, sometimes the bears will be right, sometimes the bulls will be right, but the bulls are more right than the bears. So if you had to pick one, it would make sense to, be a bull rather than a bear. The question is there's a lot of people, I think the right way to think about Bitcoin is to be a bull, but to have a couple panda bears next to you to keep you in check, to keep you from believing these insane price valuation targets in relatively short periods of time. I think that's really, really a good thing. So my opinion right now is, as always, we are not out of the woods yet. I know everyone wants us to be, and everyone thinks that we are. And I hope that we can be. I hope that we can get above the 20 week. I hope we can come back down, test it as support, and then we just, go on up, right? This is what I hope. This would be great. I mean, it'd be great for everyone's portfolios. Well, unless you're shorting the market, which, I'm not really talking to you anyways. So that's what I see. This is what I see. And the main counterpoint, right? The main counterpoint, which I think should cause everyone to have a small, maybe a degree of caution, right? Is just knowing that it can reject us, and it can take a few more months before we can maybe break through. I mean, if you look at this one, we got rejected in November. We got rejected in October and November, and then we broke through it in January. So it was about a 3-month move. So we came down. This is a good example, right? We came down. We sort of scooped out the bottom here. We came up, and when we dropped here, we dropped from 14K all the way down to 7 or 8K. Okay, we came back up to the 20 week, and then we came all the way back down. We then broke through. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh well, then this happened, but who cares? I mean, this was very temporary, and we came back out of it almost immediately within just a couple of months. And, you could say, well, it was a black swan event. I mean, the entire world felt like it was just crashing down at the time. So, I mean, we don't really know what would have happened had, that had not happened, had the world not completely shut down. But that is what happened. And unfortunately, we cannot probe parallel universes to find out what would have happened had we not had the pandemic. So it's just an example, right? It's just an example. So, now the main thing to watch for, as always, is can we get above it? And if we can, then you better watch out. I mean, and by the way, I think one thing that could happen is we get above it and then people start celebrating. But remember, what I would ideally like to see is to go above it and then to actually come back down. Maybe come back down in September. Okay, so if we get above it in August, maybe come back down to it in September, because September is usually not a good month. Maybe that's somewhat related to the rainy season in China and whatnot and mining, but I don't really know. This year might be different because China bans Bitcoin, right, every single year. A lot of miners moved out of China. But that would be an ideal bull scenario, I think. Like if I were thinking of an ideal but realistic bull scenario, it would be going above the 20 week and then coming back down. Because if you don't come back down and test it, I feel like you're playing with fire, right? And I don't know how sustainable it is if you don't come back down and test it. I mean, basically every single major move we've seen incorporated Bitcoin going above the 20 week and then coming back down and testing it later and holding it as support. It happened several times last cycle. It's already happened this cycle. It's pretty standard for Bitcoin to do. So if, and it's a big if we get above the 20 week, you're going to hear me say, all right, let's go back down and test it. Does not mean I'm bearish. It just means I want the bull phase to start, and it really can't start until we test it. That's what I think. And then alternatively, if we get rejected, then we'll kick the can down the road a few months. And then my opinion on if we get rejected is you have probably, till the end of the year, close to the end of the year, probably to figure out maybe what a local bottom will be so we can start turning back up again. That's my opinion. I mean, that's just what I generally think. And this is what I told you guys when we were up here. I said we're ahead of schedule. Expect a 3 to 6 month lull. This is 3 months. We either go up here, in my opinion, or we come down and then maybe go up later. That's my opinion. One of those two options. I'm going to be somewhat deterministic, I guess, about that. And we'll see what plays out. Our corridor has held up relatively well. Has it not? I mean, if you look at the daily time frame, it's held up relatively well. And we tested it, 4 times now? So maybe 5. Here's a wick. Middle of May, we had a wick here, another wick here. We came down to it a couple times here, and then this one as well. So far, the corridor has held up well. If you are not familiar with this is one we created back over here. Somewhere over here, I believe. We created this corridor for Bitcoin. And the idea is to generally give us a bound on short-term moves to the upside, like, what kind of will bound it, and also to the downside. Now, has it stood the test of time? No, because we haven't had enough time. It's only been around, I only published this indicator back in like April, I think, and it's not even been around half a year. So we just don't know. I mean, it's held up so far. We just don't know. If you want to go back and look at how it was like fitted, you can look to see how it performed or how it would have performed. I mean, you can see like this here up to the top. Here we came up to the top a couple more times, down to the bottom, back up to the top, back down to the bottom. We almost made it to the top, but not quite. We made it to the top there. We actually had a wick below it right there. And now we're above 42. So let's keep an eye on things. We're above 42K. We are approaching the 20-week SMA. It's only about, $1,000 higher than we currently are, right? So the bulls are here. The bulls will come out to play. We'll see if they're strong enough to defeat the bears. And then we came down and tested it several times, right? Several times over here. So right now we're moving up. Obviously this corridor is still moving down, but it will fold up eventually if the prices keep moving back up. So I would say, in my opinion, I mean, if we come back down here, it just represents opportunity, if anything. If we don't, then now we got to look to see if we can pass the 20-week. So let's see where we are. We're at 42.1. Right now we're at 42.1. The 20 weeks at 43.7. So, okay, we're about $1,500 away. About $1,500 away from the 20-week, which, I mean, in terms of percentage is not very far, right? I mean, you're talking about a move that Bitcoin could easily pull off. And let me zoom in here. So from the 20-week, you are looking at, or from the current price, you're looking at about a 3% move to get to the 20-week. Okay, about a 3% move. It's really not that far. So I would say we've been discussing it since May. We said we need to go down, come back up, test the 20-week. Let's see if we can break through it on the first attempt. If not, hopefully the second. Here we go. So we'll see here if the bulls can push past the line. Remember, need to push past it, and then we need to hold the line. Do you guys remember back in if you guys have been here for a while, a lot of you probably remember over here, we had a video called Hold the Line, like every week for 6 weeks. We just kept saying hold the line, like we have to hold the line for us to go back up. So that would be the future battle, I think. If we come up, that's going to be the future battle, and we're going to have to hold the line. That'll be the main test for Bitcoin, I think, before it can go to 100K. What are we at? So we're at 42.4. All right, we're moving up relatively quickly. Let's see here. What's the dollar doing? The dollar is also up today, which, I mean, again, they don't necessarily move against each other every single day, but I would say that the dollar, if you want to see Bitcoin sustain the move, if you want to see Bitcoin move above this and hold it as support and then continue on, ideally, you're going to be seeing the dollar go back down, right? You're going to see something like that. That would be ideal, I think, for Bitcoin in the event that Bitcoin's breaking the 20-week and whatnot. You would want to see the dollar go back down, just because historically, when the dollar goes up, it's not good for Bitcoin, right? Like here's 2018, the dollar went up, wasn't good for Bitcoin. And then we had 2014, the dollar was going up. It wasn't good for Bitcoin. So you don't want the dollar to go up if you want Bitcoin to do well, generally speaking, right? I mean, this is obviously, we only have 10 years of data, so I don't know that you can take it to the bank, but it's interesting nonetheless. The dominance on Bitcoin is also moving up. This is obviously not surprising. I mean, when Bitcoin moves quickly, the dominance will go up. Whether it's up or down, the dominance will go up, meaning if the price of Bitcoin goes up or down, the dominance of Bitcoin should go up if it's quick enough. If it's just bleeding by a couple K or slowly moving up by a few $100s or something, it's not going to change the altcoin market. But if Bitcoin's moving up quickly or down quickly, that's what causes the dominance to go up. By the way, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. If you want to know how I'm navigating these markets, remember we have the sale on the premium list. You can find a link to that in the description below if you want to lock in the lower rate. We also have a Telegram channel. We actually have over 45,000 people in there now, so I'd encourage you guys to join if you want to go chat with 45,000 of your closest friends. $42.7. We are now at 42.7. Bitcoin dominance is above 47% and climbing relatively quickly. 42.8. All right, we're now at 42.8. Let me open up a different tab here so we can follow it on a shorter time frame chart and also keep up the 20-week chart. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do the index, go over to Bitcoin, and then we're gonna switch this over. Let's go look at the minutes. Look at this, is it a minute chart? All right, so let's draw a house. Let's draw a house. But we're not gonna draw a house at 43K. We're gonna draw a house at 43,785. That's the 20-week. Okay, we're gonna draw a house at 43,785. Okay, so 43,785, right here. That's where our house is going to be. And that, again, no one cares about 43K Bitcoin, right? We care about the 20-week, and the 20 week's a moving target. So let's draw our house at 43,755. Okay, 43,755. I guess we can draw it, we can draw our house over here. How long is that? I don't know. And then we'll actually 23, no, that's way too far out. That's like 3 hours from now. What am I doing here? We don't have 3 hours for the live stream, unfortunately. Well, I guess we could, but probably not going to. Let me zoom in. I think the problem is I've just zoomed really, really far out. Okay, so here's our line in the sand. We're currently at, we'll mark it when we draw it here, we're currently at 1605 UTC. So then, draw a house here. This is house TA for those uninitiated. We don't have a Lambo in the garage yet because we are down in the dumps. We're not, we're nowhere near all-time highs. But, maybe we have a nice little bicycle or something. I don't know. Maybe we have a nice little bicycle in our garage. And that is our bicycle. So that's the 20 weeks. So remember, this, as always, is the line in the sand, right? It's the line. It's hard to write with this, but I'll try it. Line in the sand. That's what we want to move above. Before then, let's hold off on the celebrations. Let's not schedule any Forbes interviews just yet. I know you have them on speed dial. I would encourage you to tell them to, just take a message, say we got some battles we got to figure out first with Bitcoin. So this is a 20-week, and dominance is moving up. I mean, this is expected, right? You're not going to see Bitcoin go up $2,000 in like 5 minutes or a couple hours or something and not see the dominance go up, generally speaking. So that makes sense. It makes sense the dominance is going up. And I mean, for the most part, a lot of altcoins aren't really moving. I mean, some of them are, but they haven't really moved a whole lot. Okay, I mean, like ADA is at $1.40. Again, no one's getting out of bed for $1.40 ADA. I mean, we've been at $1.20 to $1.40, $1.20 to $1.20 to $1.50. Really, $1 to $1.50 for like what, 8 months, 7 months now. So that hasn't really changed. But Ethereum's moving up. Okay, Ethereum's moving up. It's at 28.66, which, by the way, they are coming into a resistance level at the same time. And the resistance level is, it's around 2,900 for Ether and around the 20-week for Bitcoin. Okay, so let's go take a look at that. Let's go check out Ether USD. So we're going to check out Ether USD, and we're going to look at these areas. Okay, so for Ether, we are approaching it, right? We are, in fact, getting really close right here. This, it looks like it's more or less corresponding in the short term to Bitcoins, okay, to Bitcoins. And Bitcoins, though, is not like a nice round number or anything like that. It's just that 20-week SMA, which again is coming in at 43.7. So you can see they are somewhat lining up, right? Bitcoin's testing the 20-week, same time Ethereum is testing its prior local tops. These will be what the bulls have to contend with. Okay, this is where the bulls they're going to be put to the test. We'll see how strong they are. We'll see if too many of them have converted into bears, into perma bears, or if we still have enough momentum to ultimately push through. My guess is even if we don't push through today, we will probably push through at some point in the next few months, because I believe in lengthening cycles, right? I believe that the cycles will lengthen. I don't think that 64K is the top. I feel like we have a long ways to go. The only question is, how long do we have to go, right? Is it through the end of the year, according to, say, a 4-year cycle? Is it a lengthened cycle? Like, I think, what is it? We just don't know that yet. But, I mean, as always, time will elucidate the truth. And that has not changed, right? Time will elucidate the truth, and we'll know soon enough. All right, so now Bitcoin's flirting with 43,000. We're at 42,986. Our new local top that we just put in is at 42,996.43. So we need to get above 43K, and above that 43,750, which is where the 20-week is. If we go look at this, all right, we're at 43K. Again, no house at 43K, because no one cares about 43K, right? If you care about 43K, you're caring about the wrong stuff. We care about the 20-week, and we are $500 away from it, in fact. So we're getting close. We are getting close. We're trying to make it to our bicycle in our garage up here. The dominance is moving up. It's up by about almost 2% on the day. Even though Ethereum's moving up, Bitcoin is outpacing it. You can see the Ether Bitcoin valuation is dropping. And remember, if Bitcoin, like it does what it usually does, no matter whether Bitcoin goes up or down, Ethereum tends to bleed against Bitcoin in Q4. We're not in Q4 yet, but I mean, it can sometimes start before that. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I know I'm a huge Ether bull, have a ton of Ethereum, but recognize that it is a strong possibility that Bitcoin outperforms Ethereum for a few months, and that could be whether Bitcoin goes up or down, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter. That's just what history tells us. Not what I want to tell you. I would like to tell you, hey, Ethereum's going to go to 50K in a couple months, like some other YouTubers will tell you, but that's just not going to happen. We need a lot of time. I don't think Bitcoin, or I don't think Ethereum will make it to 50K this cycle. I know some people have thrown, I mean, I have a hard time seeing it make it to 20K. I know a lot of people have thrown out 20K predictions. Maybe it's theoretically possible. I would, 10K seems a lot more realistic, plus or minus a few K. Getting up to 20K seems a bit too much, in my opinion. Like, it seems like we probably won't make it there. But could we make it to 10K? I think absolutely. And we could even go over 10K. Plus or minus, I mean, 10K plus or minus a few K, right? What's a few K among friends? I'm not going to nickel and dime. Don't nickel and dime me if it goes a few K around that area. But that's generally what I think with regards to Ethereum. So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens with Ethereum over the next few months. And the good news is if it does bleed against Bitcoin over the next few months, then, I mean, January is always there, and that's when it typically does great. The counterpoint to what I'm saying, right? The counterpoint to Ethereum bleeding against Bitcoin in Q4. First of all, it's always done it, okay? So if it doesn't do it, this will be the first time that it hasn't done it in Q4. It always bleeds against Bitcoin in Q4. No matter how bullish it was in Q1, Q2, or Q3, it's always bled against Bitcoin in Q4, whether Bitcoin was going up or whether Bitcoin was going down. That's just the data. You can go take it up with the data. Don't take it up with me. I'm just the data messenger. I'm just the data messenger. If I were to come up with a counterpoint, what would be a potential counterpoint to Bitcoin? Like, one thing I think that people should do more of probably is look for counterpoints to their own thoughts. Maybe we're in a phase like this, right? Maybe we're in a phase where we're like at this point, right? And it came up, and then it dips back down, and then it goes back up. The interesting thing about this path, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, so you need to pay attention to this point right here, okay? If you're not going to listen to anything, listen to this right here. Ethereum's peak against Bitcoin during the last market cycle was not at Ethereum's peak against the US dollar. Okay, I'll say that again. Ethereum peaked against Bitcoin at a different time than Ethereum peaked against the US dollar. Not a lot of people know that. A lot of people assume that the flippening comes from this move by Ethereum in early 2018. On the contrary, that's actually not true. The flippening, it came from this move back in the summer of 2017. And in the summer of 2017, Bitcoin was nowhere near 20K and nowhere near it. I mean, it was trading for like a few $1,000s. I mean, you can go back and look. Let's just go back and look. Don't take my word for it. Go look at the data. Back in the summer of 2017, Bitcoin was at like 2 to 3K. But this is where Ethereum had its peak against Bitcoin. So the flippening terminology did not come from Ethereum going to $1,400. No, it came from when Bitcoin was at 2 to 3,000 and Ethereum went absolutely crazy. I mean, it went absolutely crazy. And that was back in, if we go look at it, back in the summer of 2017. This is the move I'm talking about. Now, if you think the move that Ethereum has put in over the last 15 months has been crazy, look at this one. I mean, look at this move. This is one hell of a move. From the bottom of the wick to the top, and that does not even go to the end of the cycle. We're just putting in this leg, which wasn't even the first leg. Right? We had another leg over here, and we're not even including that one. But look at this move. This was a 6,700% move. So Ethereum had a 6,700% move against the US dollar, and during that time, Bitcoin had a phase where it was actually going back down. And during that phase, the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation peaked in June at a valuation of approximately 0.15, or about 2.5 times the current valuation against Bitcoin, right? Approximately 2.5, not a little less than 2.5, but yeah, you get it, right? So that would be the counterpoint. But again, the counterpoint to that was, well, it still topped out in the summer, right? It still topped out in June. It did not top out in November. And in fact, if you go look at every single year, it bleeds in Q4. In October, November, December, it tends to bleed. And so it begs the question, a lot of people ask me, well, when's the flippening going to occur? Well, first of all, there's no guarantee that the flippening will ever occur. But if I had to guess, I would say probably not this year. If I just had to exclude, if I had to say, if it's yes or no, right? Will it happen in 2021? I would say no. I would just say no. Could it happen in 2022? Probably not, right? Probably not. 2023? Maybe. I think the further out we go, it becomes more of a maybe, right? Because then you really don't know. And furthermore, if the lengthening cycle theory is true, which we don't know yet, right? We need time. We simply do not know if it's true. We won't know until next year. If we're putting in new all-time highs in 2022, then we have a lengthened cycle. If we're not, then we don't, right? If we're just going back down to like $10,000 or something, then we don't have a lengthened cycle. So we'll have to wait until next year to know. Now, if Bitcoin is on a lengthened cycle, okay, which is a big if, you guys know I'm a proponent of it, but it's still a big if it's on a lengthened cycle and this trend line holds up, and we treat the lower blue line, which we've had drawn on this channel for what, like 2 years now? We drew this line back in November, I think it was in November of 2019 or something. We drew this line. Standing the test of time, right? I'm not gonna draw tons of like daily trend lines and pretend like they're gonna be resistance. No, we're looking at key momentum shifts in the market. This is what we care about. We care about long-term momentum shifts in the market. Do we care about bunny hills? No, we're not getting out of bed for bunny hills. We care about long-term momentum shifts in the market. That's what we care about. And so, if that's what we care about, then we look at this general uptrend and we say, well, if it holds as support, which we're nowhere even near it right now. For us to go back down to it, maybe to be 0.04 would be I would say 0.04 would be worst case, right? 0.04 is worst case scenario. But what this means is that a potential lower bound, assuming the cycle is lengthened, by December of 2022 could be the current valuation, but that would be a lower bound. The lower bound right now is 0.036 or 0.035. So the lower bound on this trend line right now is 0.035. By December of 2022, the lower bound will be at 0.065, which is currently the valuation. And that could be the lower bound, meaning we could be much higher than that. The lower bound by, say, the summer of 2023 could be 0.08. So, if imagine a futuristic scenario, obviously one more bullish case is for the first time ever, Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin in Q4. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. I don't think it has. I think it's probably, and if you want to ask my probability, I would say like 80-20. 80% likely, in my opinion, Bitcoin outperforms Ethereum in Q4. But then I would also say 80% likely that Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin in Q1. So, I love both of them. Like, I like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I just want to remain objective, right? I want to remain objective. I don't want to be subjective. I don't want like my biases to shine through. I want to be objective and say, hey, tends to bleed against Bitcoin in Q4. So a more bullish case for the Ethereum maximalist would be we just go up here and similar to this move back in 2017 and, to hell with the Q4 bleed, just to hell with it. We go up and then we test it. That'd be a very bullish scenario. Another scenario would be, we ultimately come back down and then maybe in January we bounce back off of it, spend some time going in this direction, and then maybe the following January we do something like that. And then maybe you get the flippening, right? Maybe that's how you get there. That would be a somewhat, I feel like if we did it that way, it would be somewhat interesting because it'd be like a slow, methodical move rather than just like straight up. And if this were to happen and we got the flippening, if we came up here and we got the flippening, yeah, I don't know that it would be sustained actually. What we could say at that point would be maybe this is a long-term momentum shift back down, right? That's a possibility too. So we always want to time the momentum shifts. if you go to my channel, I literally made a video right here, and it was called, if you don't believe me, go look it up on YouTube. It was called Ethereum, Timing the Long-Term Momentum Shifts. We made it right here in September of 2019. And we had these trend lines drawn, right? We had, well, I don't know if it was exactly this one, but we talked about a general momentum shift back up to the upside over the next several years. So what we're interested in is timing the long-term shifts. Because I mean, a lot of us are investors, right? We're not day traders. I'm not out there day trading. I don't think a lot of you guys are out there day trading. You know, again, if you want to pretend like you're making money day trading, go for it. I'm fine with that. Pretend like you're making money day trading. That's fine. If you want to invest and ride it out over the long haul, then you look for the momentum shifts in the market, right? And this was a momentum shift up. And then now we got to try to figure out, well, when's the momentum shift down going to come? And while I will contend we could go down in the short term, especially if Bitcoin goes on a crazy rally, which, by the way, the consolation price would be Ethereum's doing well against the US dollar if Bitcoin goes on a crazy rally. It's just Bitcoin valuation would bleed, right? It's Bitcoin valuation would bleed. That's my outlook, right? I mean, you know, the more bullish outlook, which every person who holds Ethereum would love to see this. Every person that holds Ethereum would love to see that, right? I would love to see it. You know, I'll celebrate, right? I mean, I would love it. I just want to be realistic and say, you know what? I mean, if it happens, great. If history is an indication, we might need a little bit more time to make it to 0.1 than that. And if we need more time to make it to 0.1, so be it. And if this is the first year ever where Ethereum rallies against Bitcoin in Q4, then it will affect our dubious speculation on the Ethereum Bitcoin data. If you watched the channel back in 2019, we said expect a shift of the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation in early 2020. Okay, this is the shift that came. If you watched the channel back in 2020, we said Ethereum is coming. Ethereum is coming. We said remember the end of December, and here it came. Right, the shift came. So I'm just going to say it again. The only way that Ethereum plays out again is if Ethereum bleeds against Bitcoin in Q4. If it doesn't happen, then Ethereum is off, right? It's off. Maybe we're going to have like, October be the new Ethereum, right? Or November be the new Ethereum. But the way that Ethereum plays out is if the prior trends play out. The only reason I said that I think Ethereum is going to go up against Bitcoin here was because it bled against Bitcoin the months preceding it. The only reason I said that Ethereum is going to go up against Bitcoin here was because it had been bleeding the months preceding it. So if Ethereum goes up against Bitcoin now, then it changes the game. And I'm fine playing by a different set of rules, make no mistake about it. I certainly don't think that every single year from here until the end of time, Ethereum is going to make a major move against Bitcoin. It's probably not going to happen like that. But it happened the last 2 years, and we'll see if it happens a third. I usually start talking about it in August. Last year we started talking about the upcoming February and January. We started talking about it in August because when we saw this move here, it started going down. We said, all right, guys, it's probably going to bleed till the end of the year. Then we go up. We're going to talk about it again now, okay? If Ethereum does bleed against Bitcoin for the next several months, you guys are going to be sick of me talking about it by December. But then by January, we're already going to be celebrating again. So let's just keep an eye on it. We are at a crossroads. I would say it's more likely to go down against Bitcoin than not, even if Bitcoin goes up or down. The main counterpoint to my argument could just be like, well, Ethereum doesn't really care about what month it is. Maybe we just came up, we had a cool off period, and then we're just going to blast off like we did back over here in 2017. Like we came up, cool off period, and then blast off. That would be the main counterpoint to it. And if that happens, then Ethereum is probably off, and we're going to have something else in store in Q4. So that's what we're looking at with Ethereum. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the analysis. Again, I think Ethereum is probably going to go to around 5 figures, plus or minus a few K. That's my general thinking on Ethereum for the market cycle. Bitcoin is still, I don't know, I feel like it's probably getting cold. It hasn't come inside the house yet. We're now at 42.5K. So our local top now is just over 43. We went to 43,172. We'll see if we can come in the front door or not. The dollar is interesting because if you want to see Bitcoin go up, you'd like to see the dollar go down. but on the week, the dollar's up 0.78%, which you might be like, who gets out of bed for 0.78%? For the dollar, that's actually pretty substantial, right? For the dollar, that's pretty substantial. For crypto, that's just like, your yield farming returns for the day, right? For the dollar, that's a substantial move. So, when we look at this, I would say, well, the first thing is we actually we got rejected by the 50-week here. We came back down, we held it as support here. Now the question is it going to be sustained or not? Is the dollar going to get rejected again? If it gets rejected again, that's a good thing for Bitcoin. If it gets rejected here at around 93.5%, it's a good thing for Bitcoin. So if you don't have DXY, the US dollar currency index, on your watch list, because it's not a crypto, I would encourage you to think outside the box, put it on your watch list, keep an eye on it, be familiar with the levels. If you see it going up, it's not good for Bitcoin. If you see it going down, it's great for Bitcoin. Add it to your watch list. I think it's a useful tool for not only the crypto markets, but also for equities, okay? If the dollar shoots up, it's generally not good for equities, but I don't think it's cause and effect that way. I think it's because, if people get spooked by the markets, then the dollar starts to go up because people flock to the safety, the relative safety, right, quote unquote safety of the dollar. So if you see stocks go down, the dollar goes up more than likely. And if you see the dollar going up, then Bitcoin's probably also going down with equity. So both crypto and stocks and equities would prefer the dollar to go down so that people can keep speculating on higher risk assets. Golden Cross, yeah, are you talking about, I guess on the day, you're talking about on the daily. Let's take a look. So someone says a Golden Cross. I haven't even looked at it, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, and I do like to be honest. Yeah, we had a Golden Cross, but so what, right? So what? We've had plenty of Golden Crosses before that didn't immediately change anything. Okay, there's been plenty of them before that didn't immediately change anything in a lot of markets. Bitcoin, during the last accumulation phase, it took 3 Golden Crosses before it actually went to new all-time highs. So remember, the Golden Cross is a necessary but not sufficient condition. There's a difference, right? It's a necessary but not sufficient. It's necessary for the dollar to go up. We have to have a Golden Cross, but it's not necessarily sufficient. And the reason that is because if the dollar is going up, you have to have a Golden Cross, because it means just the 50 days outperforming the 200 day. The 50 days going up is crossing the 200 day. And if that's the case, then you're going to have a Golden Cross. What's more so, is it sustained? Is it going to put it into local top? You can also get Golden Crosses and death crosses in an accumulation phase from natural volatility, okay? So that would be the main counterpoint. Let me show you what I mean. Don't take my word for it. Let's go look at the data. You should never take my word for anything. You should verify it. Don't trust, verify. There's plenty of examples in the past where, where something gets a Golden Cross and it doesn't put in new all-time highs. Here's an example. We got a death cross a few months later. Here's an example. We got a Golden Cross in February. We got another death cross. It took 3 Golden Crosses for Bitcoin to go back up. You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting with Bitcoin? You guys want to see the pattern? We've shown it before. First cycle, it took 1 Golden Cross to get the party started. 1 Golden Cross. Second cycle, after the accumulation phase, how many did it take? It took 2. The accumulation phases are getting longer, my friends. You have 1 Golden Cross here, not as long of an accumulation phase. You have 2 Golden Crosses here. It's just natural volatility. It's natural volatility during an accumulation phase. Over here, you had 3. It's just natural volatility during an accumulation phase. So as always, I said back in January though that everyone's calling for the dollar to go down, but we need to be prepared for it bouncing off the lows, because this is the same area that it bounced off of back in 2018. If you go back and look at 2018, this is where we bounced. So remember, what makes the most sense does not always happen. If everyone thinks the dollar is going to go down, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to. And we said this back in 2020. I said, everyone thinks the dollar is going to keep going down. It might not, right? It might pause for a while. It might put up a fight here. Go back and watch the channel. This is what we said, look, it might put up a fight. It's been putting up a fight for, since January. The dollar has been putting up one hell of a fight. And what's interesting, if you're a Bitcoin bull, okay, this is a really interesting chart. Watch this. Okay, watch this. If you're a Bitcoin bull, You'll like this one. Okay, so if you are a Bitcoin bull, what you want to see happen is going below these levels. Why? Because below it, it's pretty much clear skies if you zoom out. That's the dollar zoomed out. We normally look at the dollar zoomed in. This is the dollar zoomed out. Okay? It was at 130 in 1986. It came down to the, to the 80, 82 region back in the 90s, the early 90s, up to the 119 region or so in the early 2000s, down to the 73 region in 08. You guys remember 08. And what is interesting about this? What is interesting? Well, this is what's interesting about it. Bitcoin was born out of the recession, right? It was born again as a hedge. It was born out of it, right? Well, I should say it wasn't. Here's a common misconception with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a hedge against the recession. It's a hedge against inflation, okay? But that was, they're basically both going on. So it's a hedge against inflation, not a hedge against a recession, but it was born after the recession in 2008. What you'll notice is that despite the fact that the dollar has trended up over the last 12 years, 13 years, it did not stop Bitcoin from going from a few pennies to $64,000. Did not stop it. And the main bear markets for Bitcoin happened here. 2018, this was 2018 right here. It happened in this region, and it happened, sorry, this is when the dollar was going down. This was the bull market. This was 2017. The bear market happened here in 2014 and 2018. Those were the two long bear markets that Bitcoin had. After the first cycle, there wasn't a long bear market. We had a brief accumulation phase, and it was back up, right? It was very lengthening cycles, my friend, like lengthening cycles. The first cycle was super short. The next one was longer. The next one was longer, okay? The second cycle was 2.5 years. The third cycle was 4 years. The first cycle was like a few months, right? A few months to 2.5 years to 4 years. And then everyone thinks this one's gonna be 4 years too. Maybe, but I'm not betting my money on it, right? I'm betting it's gonna take longer. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, this is the dollar zoomed out. So if the dollar does not, if we have a double top and we come down, you're talking about clear skies, right? And I don't know how far it would actually fall, but what I could say is it wouldn't be bad for Bitcoin, right? If the dollar's falling, it's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad for Bitcoin. And so, we talk about timing momentum shifts in the market, right? We talked about it for Ethereum. We talked about it for Bitcoin. We talked about it for a lot of different cryptocurrencies. If you're talking about timing momentum shifts in the market, you look at this, and while I will say this, in the short term, we could come back up. We could. And maybe our summer lull extends a little bit longer. Okay, this is possible. But, if you're looking at overarching momentum shifts in the market, when we were up here, we were more likely to go down. When we were down here, we were more likely to go up. When we were up here, we were more likely to go down. When we were down here, we were more likely to go up. When we're up here, it stands to reason that we would be more likely to go down. Now, does that happen this year? I don't know, right? Remember, this chart takes place over several decades, right? Over several decades. So we cannot say that even if we go up here, we cannot say that we're not going to ultimately trend back down. But that's just talking about timing the momentum shifts in the market. The 2014 bear market, the 2018 bear market when the dollar was going up, and it's still in an uptrend. Imagine what Bitcoin would do if the dollar's in a macro downtrend, which it could already be in, right? It could already be in a macro downtrend. And if it is in a macro downtrend, then, bring on six-figure Bitcoin, right? Bring on six-figure Bitcoin. I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of volume it'll take to get to six figures too. It's going to take a hell of a lot of volume. And we're also going to have to get past 50K. There's going to be a lot of people covering at these levels that probably opened up long positions or something. There's going to be a lot of people covering. There's going to be a lot of people just cutting their losses and moving on. We got to get about 50K after. We got to hold the 20 week, then we got to get about 50K. Then we got to put in new all-time highs, and we got a long way to go. It's going to be a long journey. Make sure you buckled up. We'll be here every step of the way. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel. We have the Telegram channel in the description below. Okay, let me find that. Okay, so if you wanna join the Telegram group, we have a very modest 45,000 people in there. So check that out. We also do have the premium list. If you want to know how I'm navigating these markets, check out the sale on the premium list. You can find that in the description below. I will also put it in the comments. Thank you for humoring my Friday morning rant. Thank you for humoring my Friday morning rant. But let's see, Bitcoin right now is at 42.6. Let's go back over to the weekly chart. My wife asked me the other day, she's like, wait, so people just watch you draw houses on a chart? And I honestly I didn't really have a good answer for her, to be completely honest. So I don't know, maybe you guys can come up with a better answer, but yeah. All right. Yeah, guys, as I said earlier, I know everyone's freaking out about the bounce off the we've talked about this. We literally said there's a great chance we're going to get a relief rally at the very least off the 50 week, okay? We've seen it every single time. A rally off the 50 week, a rally off the 50 week, a rally off the 50 week. No one is hiding around it. Like, I think people assume that we're just hiding behind it. Like, I'm not. Like, we see that. We see that we get rallies off the 50 week. And it's because we see that we understand the importance of getting back above the 20 week and holding it as support. This is why you should be cautious. This is why we use the data. We're not going in blind, right? We're not saying, oh, it's just going to rally and not look back. We're saying, hey guys, we need to be cautious because we've seen rallies off the 50 week before between 40 to 60% that did not immediately put in new all-time highs. Since that's the case, you need to keep that in mind. If you don't keep that in mind, I can't help you. If you're betting the family farm and it goes down, that's on you, right? That's on you if it goes down, if you're betting the family farm. This is why I've been stressing for the last 3 months that we were ahead of schedule. We need to go down. Maybe we get a relief rally off the 50 week. If we get one off the 50 week, we're going to test the bull market support band because the rallies typically go up 40 to 60%. If we test it, we then need to get above it. If we don't, then we kick the can down the road. If we do, then we'll sing Kumbaya on the way to 100K. Right? It's as simple as that. We don't need to make it any more complicated. Everyone wants me to talk about altcoins. You just need to be looking at Bitcoin, right? Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ruling the market right now. I would say focus on Bitcoin and try to figure out what you think Bitcoin's going to do. Someone says they already bet the family farm. Well, that is unfortunate if you bet the family farm. I hope it does work out for you. Philip asks if he can call Forbes. You guys know the answer, right? No, you don't call Forbes. Who calls Forbes when we're below the 20 week? No one calls Forbes when we're below the 20 week. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, if you're above the 20 week, I can understand thinking about calling Forbes, but if you're below the 20 week, I don't understand why you would call Forbes. What are they going to say? Hey, you're still below the 20 week. Congratulations on still being 30 or 40% down. Like, do you want a cookie? Right? We're still below the 20 week. We're not calling Forbes at this point. We got to get back to 64K. So no calling Forbes right now. Someone said they'd bet the family yield farm. That's funny. Huh. You don't call Forbes. Forbes calls you. That's right. Yeah, the bill. Honestly, the bill is somewhat concerning. From a fundamental It's hard to say that word on the channel, but from a fundamental perspective, right, it is somewhat concerning. We'll see what happens. Obviously, there's not going to really be, I mean, it's the weekend right now, but the way the current language is, it doesn't really look that great for validators, which I am a validator. I have a validator on Cardano's network and on Avalanche's network. I'm going to be launching one on other networks as well, like Polkadot at some point once they increase their the hard cap limitations on the delegators. But yeah, I mean, it's somewhat concerning because it's like, like validators aren't KYCing these transactions. And if we have to, that's going to really delay things, right? It's going to significantly delay things. It's going to delay innovation. It's going to make a lot of people move offshore. And even then, they still have to contend with whether to dealing with U.S. customers. So yeah, I mean, it's a problem. And if you want to do something about it, contact your senator, right? If you want to do something about it, call someone. Don't just say it's not worth it. Do something about it. Call them, tweet at them, whatever you want to do. Just make it be known that you have people writing legislation on crypto that don't actually understand crypto. Imagine when you first learned about crypto, like your first, let's say 2 months. Okay, this is basically what they're doing. They learned about it. They probably got some briefing on crypto, and now they claim they know what it is. Imagine your first month or two in crypto, and then imagine if after only being in crypto for 1 or 2 months, you were tasked with writing legislation on it. That's essentially what they're doing. They're writing legislation, which I don't really think they understand, and they're only protecting right now. They're protecting, like hardware wallets and these proof of work stuff, right? But I mean, they're not. The language right now is not including proof of stake, and if it doesn't include proof of stake, then, I mean, there's going to be some issues, right? There's going to be some issues, and we're going to have to get those sorted out. It doesn't matter if you're American or not. Like, if you're not American, it still affects you, right? I mean, it still will affect you because, I mean, Americans do make up a decent percentage of the crypto market, whether you like it or not, right? I mean, I can tell by my YouTube stats, about 30-something% of you guys are Americans, and about 5% of you are not male. About 5% of you are female. According to the YouTube stats. So, and also the majority of you guys are also between the ages of 25 to 44 or something like that. There's a small number of people between 18 to 25. You have more, maybe between 25 up to 44, and then it trails off at the end, sort of like, that typical bell curve. But yeah, 95% male, 30-something% Americans. If you guys want, I can pull it up. You guys want to see the stats? Let me see if I can pull it up and I can share it with you guys. Give you some information on the viewership if you are curious. Analytics. Let me go to lifetime analytics. Here, I'll just show you guys. All right, by the way, I've seen some people say that it's, like I'm running ads and stuff on the channel and I'm just posting videos every single day to get ad revenue. Hey, this is proof right here. There's proof right here, my friends, that I'm not running Adsense. Yeah, I'm not making any money. I'm not making any money on you guys watching Adsense. This is lifetime, by the way. Okay, this is 40 million views, 0 estimated revenue from Adsense. We're not going to show you guys BS ads or anything. Audience. Let's see. Top geographies. Here it is. United States, 33%. Okay? United States is 33%. So a third of you guys are from the United States. 10% are from the UK. 5.4 from Canada, 5.4 from Australia, 4.7 from the Netherlands, Germany's 4.3, and then it drops off. So the main ones are the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, the Netherlands, and Germany. And then from there, it drops off significantly, down to a very modest 1.7% from India, 1.4% from Belgium, 1.3 from Spain, 1.3 from Singapore, 1.2 from Switzerland, and then it goes all the way down. Let's go all the way down. Let's see some countries further down. Oh, we got 0.3% from Slovakia. Isn't that where Donovich is? NBA? No. Is that Slovenia? I can't remember. Now I'm going to seem like an ignorant American. All right, Vietnam 0.3%, Lithuania 0.3%, Israel 0.3%, Ukraine 0.3%, Serbia. I'm surprised Japan isn't higher. I mean, Japan's only 0.4%. That's kind of surprising, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe they're just working all the time. They don't have time to watch YouTube videos. Hungary 0.4%, Mexico 0.5%, New Zealand. I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. It's probably, I've been to Europe, but I've never been to New Zealand. That's probably the #1 place I'd like to go, but I haven't been. Germany, someone says, where is Germany? Germany's up here, 4.3%. You guys want to see it? You want to see it by age? All right, let's look at it by age. All right, so it's 40% of you are between 25 to 34, which is where I am. That's where I fall. 40% of you guys fall between the ages of 25 to 34. So I'll ask you this. If you're watching me right now, statistically speaking, and I know I'm not going to catch everyone. Thank you for watching me if you're not in these brackets, but statistically speaking, 70% of you are likely between the ages of 25 to 44. Furthermore, you're 94% likely to be male, okay? So I would say that, a majority of people watching me right now are males between the ages of 25 to 44. And if you want to encompass essentially everyone, like 95 or 93% of people, they're between the ages of 18 to 54. Someone says, can we super chat you for a new table? No, we don't do super chats. If you want to tip me, I'll give you a tip. Just go invest your money, right? Don't tip it to me, go invest. No, but it's funny, 40% of people are between 25 and 34. So if you say, if you're not an American, it doesn't affect you, just remember everything affects you. Obviously if a third of you guys are watching me from the United States, it's also funny too, because while the views are 33%, Americans also actually watch me a little bit longer, because the views account for 33%, but the watch time accounts for 37%. Maybe it's because they can understand me better, because I know some people from other countries have told me they have a hard time understanding me and they want me to turn like subtitles on or something. So maybe that's the reason. Maybe just some people have a hard time understanding me, so they don't watch it as long. But yeah, you can see that an extra 4% of the time is viewed from Americans. The lowest viewership on here is Slovakia. And remember, please use, this isn't every country in the world. But I don't really know how to add more. It might cut it off at 0.3% here. So yeah, there you have it. Geography, you're most likely to be from the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Netherlands, and Germany. You're most likely to be between the ages of 18 to, or really 25 to 44. But if you want to get a little bit further out, 18 to 54. But really 25 to 44, and you're also very likely to be a male. Meaning statistically 6% of people watching are not male. So there's 6%. We need to get more women interested in crypto. No, I'm not in Costa Rica. I'm in the United States. I'm in like the actual I'm in the continental United States. I'm not on any offshore tax haven or anything like that. I'm in the United States. Jamel says he's 82 years old from the North Pole. I doubt that. Does my wife have crypto? Actually, I just tell her that the crypto I have is hers. I just say it's her crypto and that I don't have any. So I would say she does have crypto. I'll always just say like, I'll like joke. I mean, she doesn't follow crypto at all, really. But I'll always just say like, oh yeah, I had to buy Bitcoin again today for you because I know you like Bitcoin. She'll just roll her eyes though. Why don't I turn AdSense on? Mainly because I don't want you guys to watch BS ads. That's the reason. I don't look 34. Well, I'm not 34. I'm younger than 34. Someone says Netherlands only has 17 or 18 million inhabitants. That's interesting because I mean, if it really is that small of a population and they have such a large percentage of the viewership, there's a very concentrated percentage of people in the Netherlands watching. Yeah, unfortunately, I have 3 kids. They're all boys. They all have my hairline. The V-shaped, right? I told you guys we're not gonna have a V-shaped recovery back in May. Maybe we'll have a either it's gonna hopefully be a U-shaped recovery, or if it's not a U-shaped recovery, maybe it'll be a W-shaped recovery. Right? Maybe one of those. Someone says, I know an hourly candle is not that relevant, but there's one forming right now is pretty ugly. We'll go look at the hourly Bitcoin candle. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know, how much longer do we have? 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. So we went up to 43. I mean, people, I mean, you know, when you zoom out, it just doesn't really matter, right? I mean, these wicks and whatnot don't really matter. We'll see what happens, guys. We have nothing but time. Right? We have nothing but time. Remember to subscribe to the channel, guys, if you're not subscribed. Let's get to 500,000 subscribers. What was my prior occupation before crypto? I worked at a lab studying equation of state modeling for materials under extreme conditions. Before that, I did molecular dynamics simulations back in grad school. And in situ transmission electron microscopy of irradiation of thin film ceramics. And then I complemented it with molecular dynamics. That's what I did back in grad school. And then I shifted it up for the postdoc and the scientist position. And then here we are in the cryptoverse, which I think is a more exciting place to be. Someone says they root for a W-shaped recovery. I don't know why we haven't gone up to the house yet. Why did I switch to investing full time? I couldn't do both. Like I just couldn't do both full time. So I had to switch. Like I tried to. I did both for a long time. I only quit in January. So yeah, I'm doing this full time now. No, I do not day trade, no. Did my wife ever get the yellow car? No, we got we got her a Subaru Ascent. We needed a 3-row car because of we have 3 kids, but it's not yellow. She wants to paint it yellow one day maybe, but I at least temporarily she's changed her mind on that, I think, which I'm happy about. But you never know. Maybe one day she'll want to paint it yellow, and then we'll paint it yellow. I do not have a Lambo. No, I do not. I actually did. My car. I had it transported across the country recently, and I don't know what they did to it, but they completely wrecked it, and it doesn't run like it used to. So I don't have it yet, but I just ordered a new car. But yeah, it's not gonna be here for a long time, so it doesn't really feel like I have one yet. I'm currently driving an '07 Chevy, but I think it's on its last wheels, so to speak. I don't think it's gonna last much longer. I just had to spend like $1,500 to get. The starter on the car died, so I had to get a new starter, and I had to fix a couple other things. So I think it's on its last wheels. I don't think it's gonna last that much longer. Someone says to look at Chainlink. I mean, Chainlink hasn't done anything, my friend. I mean, no one's caring about Link at $24. I have Link. I love Link. I think it's gonna go, to $100 and beyond, honestly, in the next couple of years. But it's not doing anything right now, my friend. I mean, we're still chilling at Link Ether valuations that are more or less putting in new lows fairly consistently. We're looking at Link Bitcoin valuations that are still very much just playing in the sandbox down here. We have a long way to go with Link, and we're not there yet. And if you look at the Link Bitcoin valuation on a log scale, at least for now, our prior area where we were holding that support, we've now more or less sort of turned it into resistance. So Link's got a long way to go. I think it'll make it, but it needs to do it on a day that Bitcoin's not going crazy, and Bitcoin's going crazy right now, so it's not going to be today. What happened to the NASA job? The NASA job was just an internship. I was back in like 2011. Just an internship. Have I been asked for an autograph in public? No. I've been recognized exactly one time in public. Exactly one time. Someone recognized me. No one recognizes me in public, which is fine by me. Do I ever sleep? Actually, yeah. The last few months I've been able to sleep because the market was in our summer lull. I told you guys to get some sleep over the summer. Because we were going to be in a summer lull. I warned you. That's the time to get your sleep. What is my IQ? I have no idea. I feel like people who brag about their IQs are douchebags, honestly. Do people think I look like Sheldon from The Big Bang? Actually, if you think that, you should go to YouTube and type in "fun with crypto." Go to YouTube and type in "fun with crypto." It was the April Fool's video. I sort of tried to pretend like I was Sheldon, which I guess I don't have to pretend that hard. And my wife pretended like she dressed up like Amy Fair Fowler in The Big Bang Theory, and we did "Fun with Crypto," a spin-off of "Fun with Flags." So if you need a good laugh, go watch "Fun with Crypto." Yeah. What I would like to see, I would like to see, instead of seeing headlines of China bans Bitcoin, I want to see Bitcoin bans China. Then it no longer matters if China bans Bitcoin. Eduardo says fun with crypto was his wife's first crypto video. It's probably a good one to start with, right? How's my chest rating? I think I'm like 1700, maybe like 1720 or something. I don't know. It fluctuates between 1650 and 1750 on chess.com. Someone says there's a 60-year-old female. I can Shonya says there's a 60-year-old female. I can say it's very obvious from comments on YouTube and Twitter that most are young men. Yep. I should do a house live tour sometime. There's nothing here. I mean, it's just we're just in an empty room here, right? I don't know if you guys can see that. It's just an empty room. It's a pretty big room too, which is why maybe the sound doesn't sound that good. But yeah, it's just a big empty room. When am I getting a microphone? I have a microphone. It just doesn't work that well. Does this sound better? Does it sound better when I talk into it, or does it sound worse? Yeah, some people just say they buy the dip. Other people buy the dip. No Satoshi's left behind. All right. Well, we've been going for 80 minutes. I'm sure you guys have better things to do. Ethereum's doing okay here. I mean, it's not really gaining on Bitcoin as much as it was, but it's coming up close. They're close, right? I mean, Bitcoin's coming to the 20-week, right? As Ethereum's coming to the local top here, where it hit it at like 2,900. Or really just over 2,900, about 2,910. So keep an eye out for that. See if we go above 2,910. And then for Bitcoin, I guess look for the 20-week, right? Look for the 20-week, see if we get above that. If we get rejected, it's not the end of the world, right? It's not the end of the world if we get rejected. We'll just have to play it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. All right, we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Check out the Telegram channel. Check out the premium list sale. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.